Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where adversity meets ambition and setbacks become setups for something greater. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. After walking away from a $5.1 million construction sale, enduring loss, betrayal, a season of darkness, and a pile of financial devastation, I came back to the one thing I can't shake, helping people live on purpose. This podcast isn't about chasing dollars, it's about chasing calling. Every week, we shine light on creators, entrepreneurs, and artists who refuse to quit. People who kept moving forward when life told them to sit down. If you've ever been knocked down, counted out, or told no, you're in the right place. Because here, we turn pain into power and purpose into impact. Let's dive into this week's episode. Purpose Chasers, welcome back to this episode, a round two episode with my dear friend, Steph Stanton of High Vibe Chicks. I'm so full of gratitude. We did a take one, if you will, episode in which Steph just went in on coaching me. Whether or not some of that gets released, it was super impactful, Steph. And I just have to start this off by expressing gratitude. Like, it really set me on a trajectory of not even the comeback. Like, it's like not, because I say it's my comeback, but it's not. It's like it's a rebirth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steph, the last time you were on Purpose Chasers, we talked abundance, and we talked about, abundance as it relates to a mindset around money. And if you need some of that, you can go back to Purpose Chasers and look up that episode. It is there. This episode, I didn't really know where we were going to go. I knew it was going to come up in the pre-interview talk before I hit record, if I was open to hearing it. And what you started saying is how I would like to start this Purpose Chasers episode off. And for those of you listening, Steph made this inquiry, or not an inquiry, an insight from her life. And she said, I'm realizing a lot of people in my life and a lot of people around me right now are carrying around and operating from previous versions of themselves. And it really hit me hard, because that's the basis of the coaching that Steph did with me on take one of our recording of this episode. Steph, could we start this episode right there and just get right into it? What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, I just want to honor our parallel healing path, because we found each other like 10 years ago, right? And we were both so excited about manifesting and abundance mindset and all that. And I just love who we've become on this journey. And it's been really cool to like honor that past version of ourselves, right? But also realize we have become 1,000 people since then, right? I know, at least I feel like I have. I was sharing with you before we started recording just about how I was getting this visual of like a mirror with like Vaseline on it, right? A mirror with like fogginess on it. And to me, our job as light leaders, as impact-driven people who desperately want to help this world heal, who came here as uplifters, came here as helpers, which I know you are. Our job really is to become clear channels and to be clearly reflecting back people's light. When we're blessed to have people come into our space, what we're supposed to do is reflect back who they really are, which is love, right? And if we are bringing our past always with us, the limitations, the old programming, the shame, the not enoughness, then we have this like cloudy mirror, and people aren't quite getting all of our power. And I think that we're just all being really called to shed. Like I was saying to you before we started, like, imagine if you just woke up today with amnesia, and you just woke up knowing how big you are, how powerful you are, how divine you are, how worthy you are. And then you just looked around at your family and just knew that this is such a beautiful day, right? And you didn't have all of it you were carrying into today. Does that make sense? And I think it's like, that's been my work. Every spiritual teacher I work with is just helping me become better at emptying, better at releasing attachment to who I used to be.
It does make sense. And the analogy that you're using, the visual of the Vaseline on the mirror, to me is very profound, because this hasn't been your typical, I'm going to spray some vinegar complex on the mirror and wipe it off with some paper towels, and there's going to be no streaks.
Right.
Similar to Vaseline, it's been like, I mean, I need two rolls of paper towels to even get down to the damn glass to see myself this time. It's like, what is, all right, I'm hiring a cleaning company. I don't want to. So, yeah, it's that analogy it goes another layer deeper for me in the sense that, getting Vaseline off a mirror isn't easy. And I don't know if you're experiencing that with other people around you, but it's taken diligent forward motion every single day for me to get through this and to come out the other side.
Well, I used to desperately want to wipe everyone's mirror and show them how bright they are and show them how big they are, right? And like that was how I thought I could make the most impact. When really what I've come to find is if I just keep cleaning my own mirror, I just keep working on the triggers in my life and showing up to the scary things. Like you were sharing with me yesterday, you showed up to a scary thing, right? That shifted your energy. The more I'm speaking my truth, I'm doing things that stretch me. I'm working on authenticity. I'm trying to listen to my own voice rather than all the external voices. The more I'm doing my fucking work on myself and leaving everyone really alone to do their work, and then just hanging out with people, then I become far more impactful versus trying to like clean everyone's mirror, right? And do their work for them. That held me back for a really long time.
I just want to say for those of you who don't know, and we'll segue the combo here. Steph works with a lot of healers. I originally met Steph. If you don't know, I met her at a treatment facility in which she was doing a luncheon with a bunch of different clinical professionals, and she did a whole presentation on life coaching. And it was one of the most profound talks. I got like a credit for going there for my license. And so it was one of the most, like, it was engaging. I was super engaged and actually followed up with Steph and followed on with the path of I actually left practicing therapy, dropped my licenses and started coaching as a result of you.
Mhm.
So when she's talking about seeing this, she just got off a coaching session right before she got on this with me, and she last week she was it was the same thing. I mean, she does a lot of coaching sessions with a lot of women. Can you get into the meat and potatoes, if we will, or tofu and yeah, I don't even know what you would have there, tofu and carrots.
I'm not a
Um,
big meat eater, so it's fine.
of what it looks like for, for a creator, for a light worker, for a healer, similar that comes to you to wipe the mirror, but then to not, because I'm experiencing, and I'm not, in Steph's demographic as a woman, but what I'm experiencing is this new, I'm not going to go write the definition of what this next phase is, which I've always done.
Right.
But what is this next phase? And so I'm just like in deep inquiry
Yeah.
of what is this? I'm not going to define it. I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to, it's like,
Right.
when I originally booked you for this interview, it was like to do a summit. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. It's so much stress on myself. I'm
Mhm.
just going to record interviews for now. I
Yeah.
was like, well, that's not the mark of.
Right. Right.
So, what are you finding the greatest tactics are for the individuals, the women that you serve, to once the mirror is clear of the Vaseline to start recreating themselves essentially?
And I think, by the way, like we're always doing the work on the mirror, right? Because the whole part of life is like we wake up and then we forget, and then we wake up and then we forget, right? We get pulled back into our soul's lessons and life lessons. But um, I feel like light workers are just being called right now to be bigger. And we used to think being bigger was doing more, having more structure, having like building more. Like there was like I have to show the world how big I am versus this is a much more internal shift. It's not about the external anymore. It's really not about the external. It's really trusting in the energy. Like when I heard you just say, I was going to do this, but then I was like, no, let me do this. Like you're trusting the energy more. You're so intuitive, Mark, but like you're really trusting the flow and not trying to force anything anymore. And the being bigger that we're all being called to do is really, really awaken to our own energy capacity. like really try to be energetically more expansive more of the time in order to be more magnetic as healers, in order to bring more light to the planet, in order to show up to our call as a leader. um, and it can be literally as simple as like right now in your office, like fill the room with your energy, like feel it, like just with your intention, be really really big. Right now fill your whole house, let everyone on this call feel your energy right now. You don't have to be saying a fucking thing and they can feel you. Right? I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to swear. It's about that.
You
It's like
can
this is
swear.
not about external building anymore, proving our worth or communicating our value or being understood. It's about really, really owning the God force that lives within us, really owning our worthiness, really showing up as the light and not being afraid of it anymore. And our I find I work mostly with women, but I do attract male light workers from time to time. But women have been taught forever. I was a child of the 90s to be small, quiet, thin, people pleasers. And I have to help them remember to be really, really big, because most of them were ostracized in their family or friend circle because they were too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too much. And they all come in with that wound of not really feeling like they fit because they've always been way too open on this planet, right? And I I try to create a space for them to let themselves be even bigger than they've ever experienced. And I'm watching how that attracts miracles. Just the act of them really letting themselves unfurl and be as expansive as possible and take up space
And
and
when
really
you say
bring
that, you mean that they're just verbalizing like goals and then reverbalizing stuff, and
it's
what do you
it's not
mean?
even about verbalizing, it's about letting themselves feel like the most expansive, biggest, energetic version of themselves. Once you feel that, and I'm sure you've had moments of this in your life where you're just like, this is who I really am. Like you've let yourself really feel your bigness. Once you get a taste of that, it's like, oh, it's so good. It's like, this is who I am. It's like, how do I help them tether to that more and make that the truth of who they are versus how we started? This is who I am, which is this very limited, that, this is where I grew up. This is what I learned. This is what I've done in my life. This is what, this limited, that's not the truth of who you are. The truth is you are so big and so bright and so beautiful and so brilliant and so divinely worthy. And the bigger you allow yourself to be is the bigger the impact you'll make. We've seen this with everyone, like people just want to be in the same room as, like, stars and teachers and um, musicians that have I just watched the documentary about Freddie Mercury. I just made me like ball, like, people who were really just so big and so themselves and so like authentic in how unique their energy is and let themselves be truly seen in that makes such an incredible impact on this world. And there's too many of us light workers playing really small and hiding and doing all the things in our comfort zone, like doubling down on like doing the things and the to-do list and making the perfect websites and like creating the things, when it's like if all they did was just focus on energy expansion and raising their frequency and letting themselves be bigger, it's the client issue is not going to be a problem, the money issue is not going to be the problem, all the other stuff clears up because they are now who they really came here to be. There's a frequency now of authenticity. I just whacked my laptop. Yeah.
I'm really drawn to like thinking about internal, like just this negative internal dialogue that has lived inside of me since exiting the construction companies and then leaving and getting back to doing what I was quote called to do when I couldn't figure out how to do what I was called to do anymore. And then just the internal dialogue was so dark in it just every single day, whether I knew it or not. It was like these subliminal, you suck, you failed all day, every day. And men don't have a lot of opportunities or places to share like that they're not doing well or to be lifted up, because a common reaction that I have gotten through this path was get busy, write a list, hustle, do your partner, do it again, ba ba ba. And I'm like, wow, man, there's a lot of lessons that I really need to learn right now before I get too ahead of my skis, because I don't want to get ahead of my skis again and learn a lot more lessons that I've already learned. And that's different. That's a whole new me. Um, so what I want to say is if you're a man, like the fixing of this internal dialogue will open up that channel of being able to feel how big you possibly can be. And to give you listeners full transparency, I was supposed to interview Steph last week, but I had a lot of tasks that I just had been slacking on, and I had to quote clear up a lot of stuff that I had to do for me to get on a call with Steph to be present enough to be able to focus the interview on her and her work that she's doing without her coming at me full coaching force. So, men, women who are in this place of, all right, I hear what Steph is saying. I I want to see, and I really do want to see and feel myself bigger, and I'm willing to say some things and do some things to get uncomfortable, to start living into. What are the live into steps that you see people going through? Is it consistent action? Is it uh, affirmations, manifestation, like meditation? What's the prescription? And I know it's different for every human. And a lot of what you do is affirming back. You do a lot of affirming back to me, which makes me more uncomfortable than anything in this world. And what I mean by that is she'll say like really nice things about me, or how creative I am, or bright I am, or like la 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 la. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, talk to you later.
I think it's that. I think, see, you might not say it this way, Mark, but I think that people who are attracted to me are also in service to the feminine energy, to the feminine. And what I mean by that is in service to collaboration, to intuition, to compassion, to healing, right? This is like sort of, this is divine feminine energy, unconditional love. And I've always known you to be someone who wants to use his experience to offer spaces of compassion and safety and love for people to heal. But the thing that we're most uncomfortable doing as healers is receiving. We would way rather be giving and doing. Giving, you have huge muscles for giving. Like you could run a gym with your giving muscles, right? But where our work is as healers is to work on our puny muscles for receiving, because we were taught and conditioned that receiving is dangerous. Receiving, being in a receptive mode, is a feminine mode. It's being in feminine energy. And we have been taught through thousands of years of patriarchal conditioning that the feminine should be oppressed. It is not safe, it is not okay, and men should fear it for everything, right? So that's why men do not have as many resources, and that's rising, that's coming back, that men are being more supported. As women learn how to receive, we're bringing back men to receive, which is a beautiful thing. But
That's
I
such a,
think,
I don't want to move off that, because
yeah,
I've never made the correlation between receiving being a feminine energy,
yes,
and also why I'm so resistant to receiving. I don't often ask for help. It's like even with podcast guests, right? Like they'll come on, we'll have a great episode. I'll do all of this work to put the episode out, but like I won't ask them to share it. Hey man, like, can you share this out? Like you really did a good job and I'm trying to grow my audience. Even that simple, I generally won't do it. I'll just get salty or upset that they didn't do it.
I yeah, I relate to that too. I've been that person. I always historically wanted to give, and I didn't feel comfortable receiving at all or asking for help. I'm fine. Let me just take care of you. I carried so many people on me all the time, and yet I'm fine always. But I have asked, I've spirit so many times. Like this memory is coming up where I was at a women's retreat. It was a beautiful retreat. I was sitting around a fire, like a campfire outside. There was blankets everywhere and flowers everywhere. It was like a goddess women's retreat, and everyone was kind of doing their own thing. And I was just laying by the fire, and I was so connected to spirit. Like everything was like, like I was really tapped in. And I remember saying, "What would you have me do? Like, what would you have me do? I'm here. Like, just tell me my next steps." And all the energy went flat, like stopped. And I was like, let me connect again. And I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. And I said, what would you have me do? And all I heard was, just lay down, hear the fire, smell the flowers, listen to the wind. This is enough. Like, this is receptive energy. And we are really called to more of who we're being.
Mm.
That right there, that feeling of being connected to spirit and aware of the present moment, and being in the bliss of the moment and just receiving the moment in all its fullness, that was everything spirit wanted for me. Not what I'm going to do for them. That's not it anymore. When I'm being that, my frequency is impactful without anything I'm doing. I am an energy healer just by who I'm being. And that's the next level we're being called to. It's like, yes, great. We know you're really good at doing stuff. Who are you being now? Can you let yourself receive? Can you own your divine worthiness? Can you own that you are worthy of everything you give? Can you actually give yourself more than you give everyone else? That's terrifying. That's a terrifying place. Could you imagine giving yourself more sacred, healing, self-loving time than you give the rest of the world? Like, that's terrifying. But that frequency, that changes everything.
You challenged me on our call last week. You ended our call with a challenge, and I was like, well, I was gonna call some people to just reconnect, and you challenged me to not call anybody that if my intent was to help them. And I literally went through like 20 people in my phone. I'm like, I'm so codependent, man. I just can't stop to receive. And then it's funny because, like, yeah, some hate has cropped up recently from my past overgiving. And so, the lessons learned are that it's like you can not give and you can give too much. And when you stop giving or when you change or whatever, like there's anger and all this reverse energy.
Mhm.
Steph, is there any way to disguise this receiving work for men so that it's more masculine?
Yeah, I think it is. Um, so always, like, we're only able to receive in a match to how much we give ourselves, right? Because if I don't give myself and someone's pouring love into me, it just will go right all over me. Like, I can't receive it. I'm not a vibrational match to it. It doesn't go in, right? So it's like, where can men just pour into themselves with whatever that looks like? Something they're curious about learning more about, something they're drawn to, something that they want to do more, but that feels like it's inspired, right? That is listening to intuitive guidance. That is following where they're being called. Um, and I also think just men in general need a whole bunch of more safe spaces. They need to create safe spaces, and we need a whole bunch of men to step up and do and lead more safe spaces. Because
Yeah, well, I'm coming back, but not specifically for men. I've typically, my coaching has specifically been women.
yeah,
I've worked with a number of men, but my coaching has been women. So with that
because
said, I
women
will.
have been more ready,
Yeah, go ahead.
ready, right?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
when I was in AmeriCorps 25 years ago, it was 80% women, because women were more apt to like want to sign up and change. They would take any man who would enter, right? Like, women have always, because that's part of our feminine nature, is to caretake, to help, to contribute to the community. That is feminine leadership, to take care of, right? The women bring the men. Women will bring the men. And I think the true male leaders will have that balance of feminine and masculine energy, and they will be safe spaces for other men to realize that feminine energy isn't something that needs to be pushed against, oppressed, you know, anymore, that it needs to be welcome because men are not in their full power without it.
No, and a lot of men are suffering. I mean, I was on a call with my dear friend and mentor yesterday. I'm not going to name drop, but we got on a call. I texted him. We haven't talked in about 3 months, and he's not doing well. And told me the things that were going on inside of his family. And it's like, it's a common thread for me right now to be hearing men that are exhausted. They're just really, really tired. And so when the idea of more and more and more, whatever the more is, similar to me, it's like, okay, but I have to get my fill and like I have to do my self-care and there's just like this frustration, which self-care is like a foreign word, but like, yeah, I want to get back to jujitsu and this and that and like things that I enjoy outside of this. And he just said to me, he's like, I'm real tired, man. Like I'm real tired. And he is of the camp of hustle, 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 grind, 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 and
Yeah.
so it's a strange play. It's a not strange. It's I haven't experienced a group, just like a group of men that are. But yeah, I would say if you're a man, ask your buddy, how are you doing? And then when they tell you how they're doing, which is going to be their common answer that they tell everyone, say, no, like, how are you really doing? And maybe if you want them to really open up, say this, and it's super vulnerable and feels weird. Just want you to know, I've been struggling with this thing da 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 da. Like my, kid got this, da 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 da, whatever it is. And men will open up. Men are suffering. A lot of men are suffering. And yeah, there needs to be more safe places, and it needs to be okay for a man to not be okay. For the last 18 months, I've not been okay. And I can't tell you, I could tell you easily how many men have asked me how I'm doing, like truly asked me how I'm doing. With that
How
said,
many?
I just want to say, yeah, with that said, in this energy shed or the skin shed, as you're referring to, can we talk about how important you think, or yeah, not think, or how important it is right now in this time for individuals to protect their energy? And I'm not just talking social media, I'm talking about humans that may be in your life.
Right, totally. And that's a perfect question because I was just going to say at the end of that, like the way to get through this isolation is community. And if people are really, really, really like knowing they need community, I call you forth to make a community. It could be like a men's bowling night. It can be like this, like completely most unspiritual thing, but we need to make community. We need to bring people together in person,
And you
like
got high vibe chicks. So if you're a woman, if or a woman, I identify as multiple women. If you're a woman, Steph's got you covered. She's been working for years on building a community of badass women that are doing epic stuff. I know several of them that are absolute rock stars. And yeah, I think I needed to hear that myself, the community aspect. And I've been really resistant, and I wonder what that's about. Maybe you'll go into it. I've been really hesitant, really resistant. I've said no to more things. I've said no to a lot of follow-up engagements. Like, do you want to go do another concert or do you? No, no, no. Like, I'm really clear. If the energy is not there this time, I'm not doing it. And I haven't even pondered that until this conversation. Can you talk about that a little?
yeah, I feel like it's really important for us to feel like there's nowhere we can let self-doubt creep in, and there's too much space for us to be in our own heads, and the more we can create um, connection where we're actually just speaking our truth and being authentic, and the frequency is it's safe to be you here, it's safe to be you, like let your freak flag fly, let yourself be weird, let yourself be really you, this is a judgment free zone, and only one leader has to hold that. Like I have held that frequency, and I only call in people who also bring that. Like one person has to hold that, and you will draw in like the people who match your weird, which is awesome. But having consistent time together lets the self-destructive thinking never really take hold. And
Mm.
on my own, if I didn't have that, I would be paralyzed and I would stop and I would quit. But with you, Mark, I really, really, really feel you had to feel the isolation to create the momentum to help the people who are also in that. Like you had to feel it, had to be
I'd
fresh.
never
New.
experienced isolation for the length of time, even close to the length of time that I just did. It was
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable and also super refreshing now in the sense of like, man, I don't. So like, yeah, as I'm starting to think about this, the Vaseline is coming off, and I'm seeing myself and like
Yeah.
really visualizing. I'm starting to ask myself this inquiry, and maybe it'll land with somebody, is what do I want to do if it's detached from anyone's reaction to me doing it?
Right. Right.
Not thinking about the celebration of the accomplishment, but like, what do I truly want to do if it was just me in this isolated place and there was no,
Mm,
all right, Mark, he's the best, none of that, or he sucks. Either way, there's a reaction, but there's just me.
mm.
And so, like, that's been a really cool inquiry. I mean, I've been asking people, is this a midlife crisis? At 42 on my 42nd birthday, I'm asking myself, what do I want to do if no one was, if I wasn't doing it for somebody else's pleasure?
I think we are tied to each other. Like we are all finger puppets of source, right? We all are one. The truth is unity. So, like, I think we came in choosing on a soul level to walk the path first and turn around and help the person behind us. Like, you walked your path with addiction to turn around and help others with that. And I think this past dark chapter for you was in the plan, in the divine plan. You didn't see it coming, but it was part of the experience to anchor in a new why for you, a new, deeper, more revved up why of like what I'm doing here. And I think that's all of us. Every dark night of my soul I go through is the entry to the teacher I become. I wish expansion came from the comfortable, happy, joyful, abundant places. It doesn't. It comes from, okay, I know on a soul level, I go first. And when I'm out the other side, I'm going to turn around and help them. It's just part of it. And thank God my teachers went first and then turned around and helped me. Like that's just it's just part of that. And yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we could go on and on and on and on and on with this episode, but I really, I think this is a really, really good place to stop because my mind just wants to go into as I've been thinking about branding, and because I'm a marketer,
Yep.
as I've been thinking about branding a lot and like what I've done with Produced by Neff, I've been thinking about how low he thinks of himself and how I'll share this. I'm going to share this. We'll keep this in the episode. How creators, light workers, we work so hard to do these things, to build these things up and create these assets to transform. And we spend all this time on these things and we talk about it until exhaustion. And by the time we got to go build the landing page or we have to do the website or the email automations, we're done. And so we're just checked out and we mail it in and the thing goes and it flops. And it's like, and so I'm thinking about this as I'm building and gearing up to launch. I'm like, man, what is something that I want to run down the track for 10 years? Like if I ran this 3-day challenge for 2 years straight, every week I ran 3 days of this challenge. What do I want to do? And it's caused me to rewrite my plan several times and to rethink what I'm doing, but also get to a place of presenting myself online clearer than I've ever been because internally I'm clearer than I've ever been. I wanted to make that connection for whatever it's worth because your website's probably a Vaseline mirror as well if your internal's a Vaseline mirror. And so what an amazing conversation, Steph. Is there anything that you want to leave with the Purpose Chasers before we go?
I just want to say that you don't have to do it alone and you become more impactful. I'm not just talking, I'm talking about everyone. You become more impactful as a leader the more you allow yourself to be held. And I bet you're not even touching how held you can be and how held you can feel. And if you want to really lead, really double down on how much support you're giving yourself. Because that to me is always everyone's growth edge. They'd rather do all day long, but receiving and letting themselves be carried and poured into, that's always the most terrifying thing. And I really want to see more leaders doing that.
I had two commitments made this morning around goals with friends of mine that I haven't like. And so this isn't a sales pitch to join a mastermind or buy a coaching program. This is like you can literally create this community right now for yourself with one friend that's a positive thinker that you know
Totally.
is into action and say, by January 1, I'm going to get this thing done. Are you open to committing to something that you're going to get done as well? And you have literally built yourself a community that simply.
That's it.
You
Love
don't
that.
need to spend money to get this thing rolling. I wanted to drop that for what it's worth. Steph, thank you so much for coming back on. This was a huge conversation for me. I know it'll land for the
Do it
Purpose
again soon.
Chasers.
It's always such a pleasure.
We will. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Purpose Chasers podcast. If today's episode hit home, don't just listen, engage. Follow me on Spotify, drop a review, and join the conversation over on YouTube at The Purpose Chasers or on Instagram at Organic Nerd Word. This is more than a podcast, it's a movement. And if you're here, you're already part of it. Remember, no amount of darkness can keep someone who's been called. So keep chasing, keep building, and keep standing in your purpose. I'm Mark Crandall, signing off until next time. Let's get it.